Welcome back, everybody, to a special episode of the Word Around the Ring podcast. My name is Big Rob, and I'll let my tag team partner introduce himself.
You can call me King Jess, and we're the only podcast to get more excited than Michael Cole on a Friday night. This will be a shorter show this week, but before we get to that, Rob, how's your Monday going?
Yes, my Monday's going all right. It was a pretty stressful day. Been up since 5 a.m. But once the day ended with work, I was really feeling a drink. So I decided to pick up the bottle of Nightbloom that I have stashed away in a cabinet, ate a little vodka and orange juice, and had myself a drink. And for those of you who haven't heard, Nightbloom Vodka is an American-made craft vodka of the highest standard. Nightbloom offers a diverse range of extraordinary blends, using artisanal ingredients to create a truly unique taste of vodka. That really cleared the day up for me, Jess. But how's your Monday going?
My Monday's been chill. I kind of just gamed it up this morning and read a book to, kind of end my afternoon before we started recording. Um, I know you got a chance to watch Raw. I've seen a couple of the clips of what happened, but we'll get more into that when we get into Raw. So, how about we get this started by? I think you have a segment that we want to get into, right?
Definitely. I wanted to follow up on last week's question of the week that you had provided. In terms of theme songs and theme entrances, I wanted to ask you, if you were a professional wrestler, what would your themes enter be?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Uh, I don't know if I would want WWE to create one of my own or if I would want to reach out to an artist. But if I had to reach out to an artist, I guess I would have to go with Ghostface Killer's The Champ. What would yours be if you had to pick one?
I was in between a rock and a hard place here
Mm-hmm.
because I'm a big rap fan. One of my favorite rappers, next to my older
Mm-hmm.
brother, is Jay-Z. There's one particular song that I think would bode well with a wrestling entrance, and that is his public service announcement off of the Black Album. But let's say, really haven't heard a wrestler have a great entrance song that was a rap song besides John Cena. That's his own song, so that doesn't count. So, sticking with this theme, sticking with the theme of rock, I think I would have to pick Linkin Park.
Ooh.
I think that's my final answer there.
What was that? Linkin Park what?
Um,
Oh, Nam. Yeah, that's a good one,
yes,
actually.
yeah. So I think that would be a cold one to walk out.
Did you grow up
But
watching Transformers?
of course, Optimus Prime speeches to this day still motivate me.
Hell yeah, dude.
Um, those were some of the greatest ending scenes to a movie, and I love the way Michael Bay would always cut off one of Optimus Prime's last word and then immediately jump into the end credit. Think we've seen that meme run around the internet for a few years now. So shout out to Michael Bay. I am a little sad that he no longer films and directs the Transformers movies, but we'll have to check out a Transformers one movie that's coming out on in theaters soon if it hasn't already.
Let's get into this
But
week's wrestling.
definitely this Friday night, I was extremely excited to talk to you about a certain segment. I think you know
Of
uh,
course.
I'm referring to, and that is none other than the big face off in the meetup between the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes and the former tribal chief Roman Reigns. These two individuals met up at Georgia Tech's football stadium where Roman Reigns previously played football for his collegiate experience. But my goodness, was this a cinematic masterpiece of a segment? I was shocked that they weren't going to do this live on television in the arena. But when they started announcing, well, before they started announcing, Roman and Cody actually went on X and Instagram and posted a few pictures of them having this face off. So we knew heading into the show that they weren't going to see each other on in the arena, but they've already pre-recorded a segment here. I was excited to check this out. I was also happy to find out that I didn't have to wait for the last 2 hours to get it to see it in our main event. It actually came across like maybe in the 30 minutes half through SmackDown. But Cody and Roman met up at Georgia Tech's football stadium. Roman pulled up with 7 black SUVs which was interesting to say the least. I wonder if he had all his cousins in those trucks, was all his family members, while Cody pulled up in a cool white Mustang in a crazy Italian leather suit and pair of shoes that he was rocking, just looking fly and sharp as ever, while Roman was wearing all black. These two individuals had an exchange of words, to say the least, that I thoroughly enjoyed. But the masterpiece of it all just came from the production of it. It really felt like I was watching a movie, a movie that I paid my hard-earned money to go see on a Friday night in theaters. This, as the kids say, was cinema. Roman Reigns starts off by telling Cody, "You take a look around you. This stadium is my stadium. You know, this is my stadium. This is my city." And I was like, "Yo, Roman, you're being a little disrespectful." Because for those of you who don't know, Cody's hometown is none other than Atlanta, Georgia, which is where they were standing on. But Cody cuts him off. He's like, "Look, brother, I'm not gonna let you disrespect me like that. My family uh has bled blood. They shed tears here on this soil. This is my city. This is my home." So I was very happy. Cody's finally sticking up for himself. I'm happy to see a little dog in my boy Cody over there. They start going a little back and forth. Roman tells him, "What is it that you want?" Cody responds, "I want your word. I want to make sure that at Bad Blood, you'll have my back. That way I can have yours." They, of course, have a little bit of more detail in their words here. But all in all, at the end of this conversation, Cody and Roman, well, Cody tells Roman, "Look at where you're standing. You have no tribe with you anymore. You don't have this championship with you anymore." And Roman lets Cody know he has nothing to lose. And all the weight is on Cody's shoulders now. So why is he going to help him? Which was an interesting turn. But I say this to say that I thoroughly enjoyed this segment. I found Cody was kind of giving off a heelish sort of vibe here, on the sense of a lot of it was, "I told you. I told you were going to be a chief without a tribe after WrestleMania. I told you after you lost the championship that Solo was going to turn on you. I told you that the wise man was going to leave you. I told you were going to be all on your own." Some would call Cody Nostradamus, the way he was calling these shots. And now Roman is sitting there alone, turning to Cody for help. Now these two will be facing Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa at Bad Blood. But all in all, I thoroughly enjoyed this segment. I would be remiss to mention that when I was watching this, I was actually, uh, don't do this, everyone who's listening. Don't don't be distracted while you're driving. But I was running around
Bro.
running errands. I was running some errands with my mother, and I was watching and listening to SmackDown. But when this segment started, I pulled over to the side of the road and I locked in, and I made my mother wait in the car while I sat there and I watched this segment because it was so beautifully well done. And it just made me proud to be a wrestling fan. This was Emmy levels of acting and cinematography. This is what the fuck I am talking about. And Paul Heyman was the main director, if I'm not mistaken. So shout out to that boy, Mr. Heyman. Just cinema. But that's my rant on it. I'm curious to hear your thoughts and your words on this last week's segment between these two behemoths of men.
I don't think I'm as passionate about the segment as you are. I love the passion though. Keep it coming. That shit was sick. It got me more excited about the segment than I already was. I actually did enjoy the segment. I thought the segment was actually really sick. Like you said, the cinematography of it all, the dramatization of the situation and everything going into it. I think that's cool. I think that them trying something like that is great, not only for us as fans but for the product in general, because it shows that we can expand the boundaries of what wrestling can be now. Um, Coming down to Cody and Roman, I don't know where you're seeing the heelish come from Cody. I didn't really see it as that. I saw it more as a disappointed, I guess, what would you call it? A disappointed co-wrestler, a disappointed coworker, I guess. I didn't really see it much as him coming down too hard on him or anything. But at the end of the day, like you said, I think Roman came a little disrespectful to the field, and Cody definitely put him in his place. My only problem with this segment was the very end when Cody cut Roman off. I felt like that was a little cringy, and then Roman delivering the line of "You're in my way, you're in my way" in life. I felt like that was very cringe. I don't think we needed that. He could have just walked away, got in the truck, and we could have gotten a cool drone shot of Cody standing in the middle of the field and those SUVs pulling away. But we decided to ruin it with that little bit at the end. I didn't know that Polly was directly involved in this segment, but that's fucking cool. And of course he is. When stuff like this comes out, Polly always has a fucking hand in it. But yeah, this excites me because not only are we planting the seed for what's coming at Bad Blood, but we're also planting more seeds for the future rivalry between these two, because it will inevitably come back into a clash and they will fight each other for the belt. Who will win at that point? I have no idea. We'll see where the stories have flown at that point. But if all roads lead in the direction that we think it is, hopefully the tribal chief will have that championship back around his shoulder sooner than later.
Hey. I would ask you to relax there, brother. Cody is not done carrying this championship belt, which I think he carries it well. But when I
I
say that
love
he
Cody.
had yeah, no, but when I say no, I know you love Cody, but I know the fans as well. It's that thing in wrestling where you don't know what you have until you lost it. And now we've lost Roman Reigns' title reign, and now people are remembering, those promos that he used to cut, the fun he used to have, the cinematography. And this is when he's at his best. When he gets to play with the camera work and he doesn't necessarily have to isn't in front of a live crowd, when it's just him and the camera, I think that's when Roman is at his best, and he has been, which is why he was so good in the Thunderdome era. That's when he started to use his words in matches and implement that level of theatrical of theater to his matches, which is what separated him from everyone else. And now people try to do that in between their matches, but it doesn't work the same. And it hasn't worked the same. So that's the way he separates himself, in my opinion. I love Cody too, and the reason why I love this segment for Cody was because I finally felt like we got that separation of him sort of being like, yes, he carries the championship well, he has great championship matches, but this was the first time in a long time where I felt like Cody confidence and who he was, where he was standing, who he was standing against. Because like in reality, I've seen Roman whip Cody's ass on the mic since they started having their feud. Like even I remember the segment, like I think it was the Friday or 2 Fridays before WrestleMania 39, where Roman was still the champ and they were gonna have their first time ever. Roman throws his titles on the floor. He's like, "Have you ever competed for that one? Have you ever even been in a main event before?" I was like, "Yo, he was wild and he was being mad disrespectful." Like that is the Roman Reigns that was just destroying Cody on them. But now the tides have turned. And the reason why I say it wasn't heelish tendencies per se, but it was the cadence in which he was speaking to Roman, as in like, "I've told you so this was going to happen."
Mm-hmm.
And that was the confidence that I've been yearning and I've been hoping to see from Cody, and we're starting to see it now, where he's like, "Nah, fuck that. I know you think you're the face of this company, which arguably Roman Reigns is numerically. He is the face of the company, but so is fucking Cody Rhodes. It's like 1A and 1B. Prime Michael Jordan, prime LeBron. Prime Kobe, prime LeBron. This is fucking sick to watch as a fan. So to have these two face each other here, this was the first time I felt that Cody won the promo battle and didn't leave any crumbs there for Roman. He let him
100%.
know like bro, you feel some type of way because you play football here. That's cool. He literally thanked him. He said thank you, but this is my home. I do this. This is generations of the Rhodes family, and I felt that confidence in him. And listen, I hear you on the final like 30 seconds of the segment where Roman was gonna walk off. Cody steps in front of him, and he tells him the reason why he stepped in front of him, and Roman was gonna walk off because Roman told him, once we're done here, once we're done with this tag match, I'm coming back for what's mine. Cody stepped in front of him before he could walk away, and he said, "This isn't yours to take." Roman then, of course, said, "You're in my way." Cody then slowly moved out of his way. Roman took a brief pause. He said, "You're in my way, but you're in my way in life." I can sort of agree. Yes, it was a little cringy, but it was good television. It was good theater. So I don't mind it. I personally don't mind it.
Oh, about all that. But I do like the dynamic between these two in this segment, just because, like you said, I think Roman's realizing that he really is truly down and out for the first time, and he really doesn't have anywhere to reach for, so he has to rely on a unlikely ally like Cody Rhodes. And I feel like Cody knows his position in this, and I think he recognizes he is on top, and he is now looking down at Roman. But like you said, they're on the same playing field, so it's only a matter of time between Roman gets back on there. But for now, yeah, the dynamic between these two in this segment was crazy.
Yeah, no, it was so fun to watch as a fan. I felt like I was a kid again, just locked in on what was happening on my screen. It's very easy to get distracted nowadays by external factors, but this, like I said, I stopped the car, parked the car, put the emergency lights on, locked in. I enjoyed this segment. I thought it was great, and I'm just excited to see where we go from here. I'm sure that we'll get more scenes. More promo battles and scenes like this between Roman and Cody, just uh, without the fans doing it in the live arena. That of course we always want to include the fans and do it in the ring. I think that's when it's the most fun for the fans as well. But I think they were appreciative of this segment and the dramatization of it all, like you said earlier. Just the overall fun segment that we haven't seen before. I think when they do these sort of like cinematic segments, it's been like in segments with like the Undertaker or Bray Wyatt that I remember. Like where they're stepping away from the camera and doing like I want to like more theatrical sort of matches and shit, which sometimes have issues or whatever. But this time it was a serious fucking segment. They killed it. They knocked it out of the park. So I'm excited to see where they go from here. I think they're gonna have a face to face on this upcoming SmackDown again. I'm sure we'll get some solo bloodline interference as well. But all in all, I am more excited now than ever to watch their tag match against Solo and Jacob Fatu at Bad Blood.
Oh, 100%. This definitely hyped the match up more for me going into the pay per view. This is a perfect way to promote your match going into a pay per view like this. Like the Bad Blood isn't necessarily a huge pay per view, but you still want people to watch it. And this was a phenomenal way of getting someone like me who wasn't completely invested yet, because we do have a couple of weeks to get invested for this pay per view. I wasn't completely invested, but now because of this, I'm in. I want to see these two duke it out
Yeah,
against the
and we've
bloodline.
also
Against the bloodline.
for sure. And the interesting part about this as well is now we've learned that CM Punk and Drew McIntyre are actually going to main event the Bad Blood pay-per-view.
Sick.
So I would assume that this is going to be the first match of the night. You don't have Cody and Roman on the same team and not put it at the end of the show or to kick things off. Would you disagree or agree?
No, I would agree. I would agree. I think the days of critiquing a curtain jerk match are behind us, and I think that sometimes you want these hype matches at the beginning, just in case they do go long. That way, in case it is at the end, you don't go off air with it. You can shorten everything else so that you can have this big match at the beginning.
Definitely. And I'm just excited to see the progression of the bloodline story of Roman Reigns, of his arc, his character arc as well. And what's great about this is, we're now at the beginning of September, beginning of October. Roman's been back maybe for a month and some change now.
Mm-hmm.
And people may have thought by this point, Roman would already had a Jimmy Uso by his side again. By this point, Roman may have already had Paul Heyman back as his wise man. But 2 months in, and Roman is still alone. And although as a fan, as a bloodline fan, I'm like, yo, where they at? Where are they at? I'm watching the curtains, trying to see if someone's moving backstage there. I'm watching the under the ring, trying to see if there's gonna be a hand that appears. Impatience is the word that I am experiencing now for the bloodline. But Triple H and the creative team clearly have a vision here, and they're taking their fucking time with it. And man, the payoffs are just gonna be so great that I cannot wait.
I want to get your thoughts since you brought him up. I want to get your thoughts on the wise man himself, on the small rumor. Nothing has been confirmed, or is it a reliable source or anything? Well, there is a small rumor that the wise man will return, but he won't be returning to a Roman side. He'll be returning alongside The Rock. How would you feel if that was actually true?
That would piss me off. Uh how would I feel if that were to happen?
Like in a
I think that'd
hostage
be
style situation, like you could clearly see that the wise man doesn't
mm,
want to be there, but he's being put there because of the Rock and his authoritative power.
then that would make sense. I Roman fighting for his boy back, that would be sick. I could appreciate that. But if it's something along the lines where it's like, oh, I decided to go with The Rock because clearly he's, the tribal chief or whatever, I'd be a little bit upset. I think that'd be whack because at the end of the day, uh, Paul and Roman are like Shaq and Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
One can't exist without the other. And they've built this relationship, this dynamic. The bloodline would not have happened without Paul Heyman. And I think Paul Heyman belongs next to Roman now, especially since Brock is no longer there. So I don't want to see, especially someone the level of The Rock. The Rock doesn't need a Paul Heyman. He doesn't need another mouthpiece for him. Maybe Solo does. Maybe the Bloodline 2.0 does. No disrespect to Solo, like just in general. Maybe they need a mouthpiece for them, but I think they've been doing well as is. So I wouldn't want to see that personally. I would just be interested to see how it would play out. But what are your thoughts on that?
I think in the hostage situation, I think it would be cool because, like you said, it would be a Roman fighting for his boy. It never came across the other way because it just, like you said, it just doesn't make sense. Like, why would he need a wise man, or why would Paul Heyman pick The Rock? It doesn't make any sense. But if it is that scenario where it's more of like a kidnap situation, The Rock is and thrusting his power upon Paul Heyman, I feel like that makes for a good story arc to again continue this bloodline feud because eventually if you do not come up with creative ideas to continue the feud will get stale. Right now I wouldn't say it's stale. I would say it's starting to slow down, but with this match coming up in Bad Blood, I feel like we're getting that pickup again. So the gears are starting to move in this storyline, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Definitely. If you had to take a guess
Mm-hmm.
for Cody and Roman Part 3, because Roman teased it. He said, hey, when we're done here, I'm coming back for my championship belt. If you had to take a guess as of this moment right now, when do you think we're going to get part 3 of Cody and Roman?
That's kind of tough because, like, if you're gonna really tell the bloodline storyline that they want to tell, Roman defeating 2.0, gaining his table back, I think we have months of story worth telling. So I don't think we see that until maybe SummerSlam next year at the earliest.
Okay, that's interesting.
What do you think?
We're gonna have this tag match
Mm-hmm.
at Bad Blood. Let's say Roman and Cody win the match. Then we have War Game. Do Cody and Roman remain teammates to then? I would assume so. After War Games, no, before War Games, we have Crown Jewel
Are we
in Saudi
counting that
Arabia.
as a canon one? The like, do the events of Crown Jewel actually carry over to the main show, or is that
I
one
feel
of
like they,
those?
I, I feel like they carry over. I think they're in all
Okay,
these pay per views. in recent time have now been canon events.
Okay.
Um, and I think they stand. So even like with last year, even when they did the Night of Champions, they did that in Saudi Arabia. That was a big catalyst for the bloodline breaking up there
You're
when
right. You're
Jimmy
right.
super kicked his older cousin Roman Reigns. So I think they definitely take those pay-per-views into account. It's not just a money grab anymore.
Okay.
It is something that's important to the story. So I'm interested to see where things lead off. You might be right though. I don't want to call it yet, but I would I would not be surprised that we have recently gotten an announcement. WWE announced that they're bringing back Saturday Night Main Event, which will be taking place in December of this year, or if I'm not mistaken, December 14th of this year, and it'll be happening in the Nassau Coliseum in New York, which is where they originally had the Saturday Night Main Event pay-per-view. Would not be surprised if Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes headline that pay-per-view there, that special event. And that
Um,
event is going to be broadcasted live on NBC. So it's an opportunity to bring so many more eyes and viewers to the product before they move over to Netflix later on, later a few weeks later. So if I am Triple H, if I'm TKO, and I'm like, yo, we need to bring as many eyes as it's Christmas season. Who doesn't love the holidays? What a gift it would be to give us Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes part three, and then some bullshit like The Rock coming out to fuck up his cousin. Bam, we get the build up to WrestleMania 41, Roman and The Rock. That'd be a great way to start that build up there, start that feud if we haven't already seen The Rock show up prior to then. If we think that Roman's now moving forward from the bloodline of old, and now he has his chance to go after his championship again, then The Rock says, no, no. But who knows? That's how I feel about it. On the business front, I think that makes the most sense. You use that special event that's going to be broadcasted live on NBC. On NBC, that's big. That is big. You use that to your advantage, and you bring forward more eyes to the product that you're moving to Netflix.
I have a few
In my
things.
thoughts.
A few things. One, um, I'm mad because I'll be in New York City a week before that, so I'm pissed that I won't be able to go to that. Two,
Just move the flight.
I can't move the whole vacation. Um, two, would this third one then be for the belt? Do you think if they have it at,
Fuck yeah.
do you have it for the belt? Okay.
Oh,
It's a
100%.
it's a little sooner than I would like, but it would still fit the timeline. I just feel like you still have a lot of story to tell within Roman Reigns winning back that Ulafala before going for the belt again. I think the belt is secondary to the Ulafala right now, at least for Roman Reigns. And I think that's great because it gives people to look forward to something else to be competed for. You know, the Ulafala is being competed for within the family. You have the belts being competed within the company between all the wrestlers and stuff. So, yeah, that's that's what I wanted to say.
Oh, for sure. Listen, I'm dreaming here. This is a young man just dreaming, and we'll have to wait and see. If you guys have thoughts on where do you think Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes Part 3 is going to happen, leave those thoughts in the comments below. I would love to read your fantasy bookings here. I'm just a kid with a dream,
I'm
just
just so
fantasizing about wrestling. So if you guys have any thoughts on that, make sure to comment below. We'd love to hear what you guys are thinking. Who do you think is going to win the tag match at Bad Blood on October 5th between Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, and Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes? Definitely excited to see that. Want to move forward a little bit, still in regards to this segment here, just because once this segment concluded, we talked a little bit about this last episode. Where was Kevin Owens' head going to be at? Where was Randy Orton's head going to be at? Once they found out that their boy Cody was going to team up with the guy that's been ruining their lives for the past couple of years. And shortly after the segment concluded at Georgia Tech's football stadium, we saw Kevin Owens backstage. I think it was Kevin Patrick trying to get a word with Kevin, but Kevin Owens just blew him off. He said, listen, I'm going to address this in the middle of the ring. Kevin went out to the middle of the ring, was on the mic. He was just about to talk about what had happened until the Bloodline 2.0 showed up, cut him off, and tried to jump him. Um, this ended up leading to a main event between the Street Profits, Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline 2.0. The match ended when Jacob Fatu and the Bloodline decided just to disqualify themselves, started using weapons, attacking Kevin Owens and the Street Profits. But before they can get their shit rocked, DIY, who was originally slated to help out Kevin Owens against the Bloodline before they were brutally attacked backstage, came up to save the day. But they were still no match for the Bloodline. The Bloodline then focused up on Kevin Owens. They had him 1-on-3, if I'm not mistaken, beating his ass, and you were just waiting patiently for someone to pop. I thought it was going to be Roman to come out and help him, but it wasn't. It was his friend Cody Rhodes who came out with a chair, the defense of Kevin Owens. Cody ran all three of the Samoans out of the ring. In that process, he had dropped the chair, which Kevin Owens had picked up. The camera had a perfect angle of Cody facing the ramp, looking on to the Samoans leading up the ramp while having his back to Kevin Owens. And Kevin had picked up the chair. And we get that glimpse again, that little bit of hope that me as a Kevin Owens fan thought we were finally going to get a heel turn, but not yet. Kevin Owens had the chair in his hands. He looked at Cody. This time he looked a little bit more conflicted with his decision. Still, he decided not to use that against his friend. I think he's still fighting those demons. He doesn't want to revert back to the heel tendencies that he once had back in the day when he was sporting the Fight Owens fight shirts. But what were your thoughts on this? Where do you think this leads with Kevin Owens and Cody's friendship? And how do you think Randy's going to play a role in this as well?
This match in general to me was a little bit of a mess. Not only did it end because of the ref's discretion, but I think the attack that happened by the bloodline went on a little long. I don't know if they were trying to figure it out or something went wrong, but I just felt like the time between the bloodline attacking and Cody getting there was just a little too long. I feel like we could have shortened that up. But we finally got to see KO kind of hint at the turn, kind of hint at turning on Cody finally because of the action that he's taken recently of siding with Roman. But he just quite didn't pull the trigger. Uh, Me and my buddy were watching this, and he thinks that KO is actually not going to turn at all, and he's going to turn a new leaf because all he does is turn on his friends, which is true. He does really always turn on his friends. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell with KO because we also have the factor of Randy Orton that we really haven't seen recently. So I think we're going to be pushing off the KO turn at least until I think Randy Orton can get involved, whether that be Randy Orton siding with him or Randy Orton being the mediator between the friendship. Because I really don't know where we're going to be taking this Cody storyline in the future. Past this tag team because, like I said, Roman's gonna go and figure it out with the bloodline. So, who does Cody go into a feud with? Is he gonna go back to his shtick of kind of just wrestling the people that he really wants to wrestle and giving opportunities to people, or are we gonna throw him into a storyline with someone officially until Roman and them can free up?
Definitely. No, you bring up a good point. I would still disagree with you. I think Kevin Owens is going to turn, and I think Kevin Owens' turn is going to lead to another match for him. I think Kevin Owens' turn is going to also influence Randy Orton's turn, and I think that's the money feud. Um, that's the money feud that I think they're going to push for WrestleMania 41. Because if Roman is facing The Rock, who's facing Cody? And if you're going to have that main event, say Rock and Roman for night one, is your main event night two going to be Cody versus Randy? I think that's main event worthy, especially WrestleMania main event worthy. Um, but that might be too early. The Order might not want to go back to being a heel yet. I'm not sure there. I haven't heard any rumblings, but I just think that would be the money feud coming out of this storyline here. And I think it would play it would be easy for them to figure that out, especially with the storyline that they have now, with Cody and Roman now teaming up, it'd be very easy for it just to make sense that Kevin Owens and Randy Orton are not happy with the decision that Cody made there. Um, just following everything that Roman has done to both of those individuals. We've seen what Roman and the Bloodline did to Kevin Owens at Royal Rumble a few years ago when Sammy turned on Roman. We saw what Roman and the Bloodline did to Randy Orton when they wrote him off of TV and injured him, sending him into a few surgeries there as well in regards to his back issue. So I think it's very easy just to turn these two individuals on Cody for what he's decided to do. That might be the easy way out. You might be right. They might not be going that way. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm excited to see what happens here with Kevin Owens and Randy Orton because there's a lot of potential for them both, and I think they're at their best when they're both heels as well.
True, I agree with that.
But moving forward to another hot topic that I want to quickly touch upon on SmackDown was Andrade versus LA Knight for the United States Championship. I thought this was a very fun match. They gave him about 20 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. It actually kicked off the show, if I remember correctly. Gave him about a 20-minute match. Andrade is such a heavy hitter. All his fucking moves look like they fucking hurt, especially that spinning elbow that we talked about before. Moonsault that he does off of the top rope where he lands on his feet and then still jumps off the mat to hit another moonsault into a splash on opponents. It's a phenomenal move that he uses. LA Knight also has just been in his arsenal recently. He has a bag of tricks that I've enjoyed to see. I think he's put to rest those LA Knight can wrestle critics and comments that he was receiving at the beginning of his SmackDown run. He's been putting on banger matches, banger United States Championship defenses. He's already maybe doubled, if not tripled, the fucking amount of defenses that Logan Paul had during his reign. I thoroughly enjoyed this match. There was a bit of a hiccup at the end of this match here when LA Knight likes to do this move where he runs up to the top of the rope. He runs up to the opponent who's sitting on the top of the rope. He jumps all the way onto both of the ropes there and tries to do a suplex, like a springboard suplex off the rope. This time his foot slipped. But Andrade actually recovered this shit very well because LA Knight's foot slipped. He tried to do the move again, and Andrade was like, "No, I'm not gonna let you do this shit again. Like, why would I let you do it? I just saw you slip. You gave me a chance to recover." He pushes Knight off the floor. He hits him with, I believe it was some sort of moonsault or a splash. I thought Andrade had it there, but LA Knight kicked out. He recovered, hits his BFT finisher on Andrade, won the match. Um, and ultimately, LA Knight is still our United States champion. I thought this was a great match for both of these individuals. What were your thoughts on this match and just how on fire Andrade has been for the last couple of months on WWE television?
I honestly got worried there, like you at the end. I thought Andrade was gonna steal this away from LA Knight. Well, not even steal it away. This was a great show from both of them. Like you said, both of these guys are hot right now. LA Knight looks phenomenal. He looks the best I probably have seen him in the ring to look. Andrade is coming into form. He's always been amazing though. Like you said, he has this arsenal of moves that just impresses. I don't think I've ever seen him land that land into moonsault on anyone as clean as he did on LA Knight. That shit was sick. You had brought up towards the end there was a hiccup. LA Knight did go up for the this summer moonsault that he does from the top rope, and I actually did appreciate that Andrade gave him one more chance, and then after that, he told him, "Nah, like you said, nah, you fucked it up. Get back down." And immediately, LA Knight checked him for that. So it's like an old school form of checking, I guess, that we saw in the ring between these two, and that's just great to see because sometimes, hey, if you fuck it up too many times, it doesn't look clean anymore. We got to recover and we got to make it look realistic as we can. So I really did appreciate that from Andrade and LA Knight. Both of them did great. This was a fun match. This actually did lead into a bit of a scuffle backstage with Andrade and Mello. I don't know if you want to get your thoughts out on that.
Yeah, definitely. It was a fun scuffle that I thought. So Andrade was backstage, clearly frustrated. We see Carmelo Hayes jump in to the camera frame. He tells Andrade, "Man, you are just washed." And he also tells him to put the fries in the bag, old man. I said, "Wow, this fucking dude is being disrespectful." Um, I do love the fact that these wrestlers are just so on the internet nowadays that they pick up on these fucking memes and these jokes and they use them on television, and I just think it's the funniest shit, like little things like that. So the fries in the bag comment was hilarious to me. Um, it was, although a little cringy, it was still fucking funny. And then Andrade just looks at him and they just start going fucking back and forth backstage, punching each other out until backstage security gets involved, separates the two men. So clearly, this feud between these two individuals is not over. I'm excited to see when if I am not mistaken, this would be their sixth match. Andrade is up 3-2 at the moment. So this would be their sixth match. If
Hmm.
it were to happen, I would love to find out when that would be. This is
They
pay per
already
view.
made it official, but I don't have it in front of me.
Okay, they might have made it official for this upcoming Friday. So they're gonna tie it up, probably. But man, I'd love to see Game 7 at a pay per view. These two guys have fucking, without a championship involved, without really much of a story involved either. Like they haven't really had crazy promo battles between a few backstage segments that they've cut on each other. Um, they have everyone invested in this feud, and it's not because of the words they've exchanged, it's because of the wrestling they've done in the middle of the ring. And that hasn't happened in a very, very long time. When you and I are discussing hot feuds, we're discussing the words that these individuals are exchanging. But Andrade and Carmelo are just using their fucking fists to fill us in as fans and to just to pay attention to their matches. It's almost like, controversial. I just remember watching matches like Eddie Guerrero versus Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle versus Eddie Guerrero. Like those are matches that you would just enjoy to see wrestling take place. They didn't have to cut promos on each other, and I think this is where this feud has been at. I wouldn't say at that high of a level, but maybe I will. People are always scared to compare uh because of the history that those matches holds and the love that we have in our hearts for those near and dear wrestlers. But this feud has been on the level of those feuds back in the day in those matches. What are your thoughts on that?
I actually, I do want to make. I looked it up. It is official for this Friday, so we're getting Melo Andrade 6 this Friday. When we were watching this on Friday, my buddy went, "Oh, we're getting this again." Honestly, I'm not mad at it. This whole set has been phenomenal. I think both of these guys are incredible. Andrade, you already know how I feel about Andrade. He was a lucha boy, so he can go. I know he can go, and I think he's coming into his own finally in the ring. And I think even the match between LA Knight, the crowd is just behind him right now. He is fucking hot. Mello came over from NXT and he could have just completely drowned amongst the spotlight of all these other wrestlers, but he really stuck to his guns on this feud and he keeps coming back even though we think that he is done and out. Um, and like I said, I'm excited to see this. Give me more of these two. Give me more of Andrade versus Knight. I feel like them two going at it in the show was amazing. So if that little talk at the end of their match was, "Hey, let's do this again." Shit, I'm all for it.
For sure. Excited to see how that's going to play out this Friday. Definitely see Carmelo winning this one, of course, so we can tie it up. And then I think they're done adding matches to Bad Blood, but I wouldn't be mad at it. I would not be mad if they added Andrade versus Carmelo in a pay per view setting. I think both of them are deserving of it, especially after putting together this masterful series of matches.
And not on the pre-show. Put this shit on the card. Like put this as a a break match between bigger events, but still have it on the main card so that people actually watch it. I feel like not enough people watch the matches on the pre-show because they just want to get to the main show.
For sure. I would agree. But no, we're looking forward to seeing how this plays out, where the seventh match is going to be, where Game 7 will take place. And ultimately, maybe we get a triple threat between Carmelo and Andrade and LA Knight. I think that'd be fucking great as well. So we'll have to wait and see. But jumping into a few things that did happen on tonight's Monday Night Raw that I just want to quickly touch upon just because they're hot topics and they just happened. We found out that Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley's championship match for the WWE Women's World Heavyweight Championship at Bad Blood will now include Dom Mysterio in a shark cage hanging over the ring. The purpose of that is so Dom is unable to assist Liv Morgan during this match. Liv finding this out was very upset. She went backstage to Adam Pierce, and he was just going back and forth with him, like saying why is this fair, etc. etc. Adam Pierce wasn't having it. He's done with the Judgment Day. He's had it up to here with their shit. What are your thoughts on this stipulation here that I don't know if we've ever seen? Maybe not in my lifetime. Maybe in your lifetime you've seen this before, but I've never seen someone hang above above the ring in a shark cage.
We
What are
have.
your
I
thoughts
am.
on
I
that?
am drawing a blank on what match I've been trying ever since you. Because when you, I haven't watched Raw. I'm gonna watch Raw right after we record this. I haven't watched Raw. When he wrote this down on the schedule, I was like, "What am I reading?" We have had a match like this before, maybe one or two. I'm drawing a blank on who was in those matches or who was even in the cage. But these matches are kind of wild, and it's just wild that this is the point that we got into. The memes were, hang Dom above the ring, like the Money in the Bank briefcase and let them fight over him. But to actually put him in a shark cage is just fucking wild to me. Um, this makes the match fun. I feel like the match alone was going to be a good match because I do want to see Rhea versus Liv. I want to see them go at it a couple matches before we call it quits on this. And I think adding the stipulation just makes the match fun. This doesn't necessarily mean that it'll still be a clean win. Um, Now that I'm remembering, it's notorious of people dropping stuff through the cage that they carry on in with them. So it'll be fun to see what Dom brings with him or if the Judgment Day gets involved. But this is going to be fucking wild. Is this an open arena for Bad Blood or is this closed?
Closed.
Closed? Okay, it would have been wild if it was open, but closed, it's still wild in general. This is definitely going to be at least a fun match to watch with that stipulation.
Definitely. And I would think it'd be a shorter match. How long do you want Dom to be hanging from a shark cage above the ring?
Yeah, I would say over like
Uh,
30 minutes, maybe.
I'd give it 15, but
15? Okay.
we're gonna see. I know you said I want to touch up on this quickly. You said we've seen people drop things
Hmm.
from the shark cage. What's interesting to me about that is I thought about not necessarily what he's going to bring,
Okay.
but who he's going to bring. We forget, or maybe the listeners have forgotten, that Liv Morgan was not the only individual to have been turned on by Rhea Ripley. There's actually someone, or who's had a feud with Rhea Ripley, and to the point where they feel like they need to get back at her for what she's did. There's actually a teammate of Liv Morgan who she had won gold with as WWE Women's Tag Champs before, by the name of Raquel Rodriguez. We haven't seen her on TV in a very, very, very long time. She's been out with some personal circumstances.
Hmm.
We haven't heard any rumblings about her as well either. I think they're keeping her very close to the chest as someone who can turn the tide for Liv Morgan and who could also provide another feud for a Rhea Ripley. I say this because let's say Rhea Ripley does win this match. Where do we go from there? Who's she gonna feud? Is she gonna give Liv Morgan a rematch back? I wouldn't think so. So who does she turn her attention to on Monday Night Raw? A fucking Pure Fusion Collective? Fuck no. So get that bullshit out of there. Um, who the fuck else would she face? Natalia? Nope. Bianca and Jade are over there with their tag championships. We haven't seen Isla Dawn and Alba Fire win anything for the last few weeks. Aiden Cart, Aiden Carter and Katana Chance haven't been on TV. So where's the women's division? Um, Without this Rhea and Liv Morgan feud. They've really been carrying this feud. Lila Valkyria would be fun to see in a match against Rhea Ripley, yes, but there's no story there. But there is a story if you bring back Raquel Rodriguez. You can continue this feud with Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan, and maybe Liv has some muscle that we haven't been aware of. We completely forgot about that. So I think that Raquel would make her grand reemergence at Bad Blood in a few weeks and help out her homegirl, who she was once champion with,
I
and
mean,
get Rhea Ripley's ass out of there.
that makes sense, and I wouldn't be mad at it. I wouldn't ever say that I was like a huge Raquel fan. Like I couldn't really get behind her through NXT or anything like that. She just wasn't, for me. But I'm a sucker for a return story, especially when it's something like where it's you weren't meant to come back, but you're overcoming the odds. So, and if you put her in the storyline, it just makes sense. Like you said, it gives Rhea Ripley someone else to compete against. So I wouldn't be mad at it. Now that I'm remembering, though, we have had a shark cage match, and I'm pretty sure you were watching. It was during the Chris Jericho list era. He was put in a
No
shark
way.
cage, a locked up
Chris
beast.
was?
Chris Jericho was, so that he wouldn't help out during Kevin Owens matches.
That's so fun.
Yeah,
Chris
so we've
Jericho.
had a few, but like it's funny that we're bringing that back specifically for this with the I guess a lineage of having him be custody during the Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio feud. Now
Yeah,
he's hanging above a shark cage, kind of a funny full circle.
for sure. I think uh that's why they decided to go that route, because there were fans. There was a documentary or just a quick video I was listening to in regards to Dominic Mysterio, where the original idea for the custody match between Eddie and Ray was to have hang from
I've
a
heard that
shark
too.
cage, but they were like, no, he's a fucking kid. We can't do that. Surprise, surprise. That didn't happen, of course, but they finally got to make it happen on live television. So I'm sure that's just a nod back to those days. And shout out to Dom for being a team player. Who knows? This motherfucker might be claustrophobic. He might be scared of heights. So many factors, but he decided he's gonna stick this one out. Shit. If Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley were fighting over me, I ain't from that bitch too. That's just me. But anyways, moving forward, one last piece that I wanted to get your thoughts on that I was so surprised at today. We talked about it last week. I was fully prepared to see Braun Breaker fucking just beat Jey Uso. Hear him, whatever the fuck. Even if we had Jacob Fatu or the Bloodline 2.0 finally interfere with the Jey Uso match, I was fully prepared to see Jey Uso lose another championship title. One of my good friends, Mr. Harris, had reached out to me. We were talking about it over video games this weekend. He's very adamant that Jay was gonna fucking win. I was like, nah, there's no way there's no way you give Braun the title, have him cut these great promos, put this championship belt on his shoulder that looks so darn good, and you have him lose to Jey Uso, who hasn't won a single title in the 14 years that he's been in the WWE. But the clock strikes twice right, even when that bitch is wrong. And that motherfucker Jey Uso won the Intercontinental Championship tonight in Ontario, California, in a fucking David and Goliath type battle. At no point, if you're watching this match, if you sat there and you watched this match live, there was not a singular point where you could sit there and tell me that you genuinely believed that Jay was going to pull it off. The, the difference in strength, the difference in size, pause, the difference in just sheer will from Braun Breaker versus Jey Uso in this match, there was a disparity, at least in my opinion. I thought Braun had this shit. They kept kicking out of spears, out of Frankensteiners, whatever Braun threw at him. Jay kept kicking out. But I just felt like at some fucking point, the brother's not gonna kick out. But you know, we're gonna keep giving him some respect. We gotta build the brother up. If he's gonna lose this shit again, give him a few kickouts. But then the tide started to turn. Braun was about to hit Jay with a spear in the middle of the ring. Jay reversed it into his own spear. Sent Braun out of the ring. Hit this motherfucker with a spear into the barricade. When I saw the spear into the barricade, I said, "Oh shit. They're they might do something crazy here." He spears this motherfucker into the barricade. I don't remember this correctly. I think he threw him back into the ring and hit him with another spear. And then he hit the frog splash. But I thought that Braun was gonna kick out. I said, "Oh, he's kicking out. He's kicking out. There's no way. There's no fucking way." He didn't kick out. They got the win. He pins him after the frog splash, and I lose my mind. I could not believe it. I was so surprised. Genuine surprise. Like genuine shock. It was unbelievable. Like we're very much in the know of this shit. You know, you can kind of predict what the fuck is gonna happen. I would have lost the house. I would have lost the house. I would have lost the car. I would have lost the savings account because in my heart of hearts, I did not think that Jay was going to win this match. Now, am I happy for him? Of course. Happy for Jay Uso. I'm glad he gets his moment in his home state of California, happened in Ontario, California. And the crowd, man, the crowd was so fucking into it. It was so fun to watch. Like as a fan, they were so into it. They were loving every second of it. Every near fall for Jay just felt like the air sucked out of them. It was one of those matches where you would watch clips back in the day where people have their phones down. People had their phones put away for this match. We don't see that very often anymore. But people had their phones put away for this match. They were right there with Jay. And when he fucking won, the crowd went ballistic. They went ballistic. Not to the level where when Eddie B. Brock, he goes into the crowd, raises the flag. Like that's a different level. But it was damn near. This crowd went ballistic. It was so fun to watch. So congratulations to Jay Uso. As a wrestling fan, that was so much fun. They surprised the fuck out of me here. I know I spoiled it for you, but I just want to hear your thoughts on seeing him win the championship. Where do we even go from here? Where if you're Braun Breaker, where do you go from here? You're gonna get your rematch. Now, do you get your rematch immediately and win, or do you get it at a pay-per-view like Crown Jewel and win it back there? But where do we go from here in regards to Jay and Braun? What were your thoughts on hearing about this? And I'm excited for you to watch this live.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to watch this right after we finish this. I don't know where we go from here because this wasn't supposed to happen. I don't know when they decided to pull the trigger on this, but I did not have Jay at all winning this match because it just doesn't make sense. We had just put the belt on Braun, so why the fuck take it off of him? Also, Jay is going into his storylines with the bloodline, or at least we assumed. Does this mean that maybe as Jay's involvement with this is gonna get pushed back, um, and he's gonna be holding the belt, which means he gets into a rivalry with Braun? I don't know, or does, like you said, does he just immediately cash in that rematch and win this at a pay per view? Fuck, I don't know. I don't. This completely threw in a wrench, at least in my booking. I have no idea where we go for this. I'm with you. I'm excited for Jay. Good shit, Jay. I'm excited to watch this match because you just described it the way you described it. It sounds fucking legit. It sounds hype. But fuck, dude, I did not have this on my bingo card for for SmackDown or for Raw. I mean,
Yeah. No, I don't think a lot of people had this shit on their card. I called one of my best friends as soon as it happened. He's a big Intercontinental Championship guy. He's a big Jim Cornette guy as well. So am I. Love Jim. Jim's fucking great. But I knew he was gonna be pissed. I just fucking knew he was gonna be pissed. So I called him laughing, because I was so excited to just say yeet.
mm-hmm.
Because I knew he was gonna be sick to his stomach, and he's over there. just upset at this moment in time. He's on the same page as you, where he didn't think that Braun should lose this title at this point, especially just coming off a win, beating Sammy, having this prestigious, having Sammy beat Gunther, who had the prestigious reign. But I must say, listen, I think over the last few years we've gotten maybe accustomed to these long title reigns from Roman Reigns, from Gunther, and that's all nice and dandy. I do love it, but sometimes you don't need to have a 6 month title reign. You know, John Cena is a 16-time world champion, not because the motherfucker was 16-time world champion for 1,000 fucking days, but he had these short stints that build up to the story. At the end of his career, Braun is going to be 5 time, 6 time, whatever the fuck, Intercontinental Champion. He's going to go on to win the World Heavyweight Champion. He's going to go on to win the WWE Championship. Like, that is all in the cards for him. I too do not know where they're gonna go from this situation with Jey Uso, because as a fan, I was happy for him, but then I got nervous. I said, "Hold up now, player. What the fuck? We got big plans for you, bro. I'm trying to see you with the bloodline, bro. What the fuck?" But I think this leads directly into it because Solo Sikoa is going to be so jealous that his brother was able to get a championship around his waist before him. Now, having that happen, how is Jacob Fatu? How is Tama Tonga? How is Tonga Loa going to look at Solo Sikoa, watching their cousin win the title before the supposed tribal chief could win a title? Solo had his chances already. He hasn't made anything happen. Unfortunately for him, Roman did come and hit the motherfucker with a spear at SummerSlam. That did happen, but they're not gonna think about it that way. Oh, I think this may lead us into the story that we've been hoping for, that I've personally been hoping for. But all in all, I don't think Jay's gonna have a crazy long title reign. I think Braun will probably win it back. Add a crown jewel. We move forward from there. Just super happy for Jay. He finally got his moment. Finally got to be in the fucking crowd, yeeting with the championship. So shout out to him. Congratulations, Jay. As a Jay Uso fan, shout out to the Yeet Master. I put my ones up for him. I put my hands up and I waved. So just excited for him. Nervous about the bloodline story, but I know they're gonna cook something for me. They're gonna cook something for you, and everyone's gonna eat.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like I said, I'm happy for him. Good for him. I just feel like I know where you're coming from. You don't want to have, not everyone needs to have a crazy long title reign, but it does actually mean something to carry that belt. And
For
just
sure.
changing it for a means to an end, I guess, it doesn't really sit right with me. I guess we'll see where it expands after this, and we'll see if Braun actually gets it back, or if it was just, they maybe pulled the trigger on him and they got cold feet. Who knows? In the next following weeks, I hope they elaborate more on their choice of why they put it on Jay. But at the end of the day, like you said, happy for him. I'll be eating all night. I'm cool with it.
No, for sure. And listen. I get it. I get where you're coming from. I get where the fans are coming from. But let's not fucking act like this is David Arquette winning the WCW championship. Like this is nowhere near that level. Like, let's not. I don't want it to sound like, oh, there's just a means to an end for Jay. Like, listen, I get it. These championships are prestigious. Braun defended the belt well. He had his matches against Sammy. He added some prestige to it, which is why this moment feels so dope for Jay. This is why I'm like, oh shit, the motherfucker won on a Monday Night Raw. It didn't happen at the pay per view. It didn't happen at a special Monday Night Raw. It happened in the middle of fucking September, on September 23rd, 2024, who no one would give a singular fuck about. But today they give a fuck because Jay Uso is the Intercontinental Champion. And I am excited for him. I also would love to give credit where credit is due. This was a great match for Jay and Braun. This was probably Jay's best match that he's had in the last 6 months. I have to not give that credit to Jay because he's had a lot of matches in those 6 months, and none of them have been at the caliber of this match. The only other factor to that was Braun Breaker himself. For Braun Breaker to go out there and put on a hell of a performance with Jey Uso like this, sell the way he sold, like, oh man, that kid is something special. That kid, listen, if Paul Heyman is gonna move on from Roman, he better hop on Braun Breaker's coattails, and we better get a Brock Lesnar 2.0 type of situation there, because he is on the fucking bullet train. Ooh, the history, that resume that he's gonna build is going to be insane. I am a fucking dog barking for Braun Breaker. That dude is cold. So shout out to him. He's gonna get this shit back. I'm not worried about Braun. So the people who are worried about Braun, don't worry about Braun. Braun's gonna be fine. But yeah, that all in all, just a surprise. The surprise of the fucking night, of the month, might be of the year, because I did not expect this shit at all.
Nobody did.
But with that being said, I want to thank everybody for listening to today's episode. This was an absolute fun one. If you haven't gotten a chance to check out the Cody and Roman Reigns cinematic masterpiece that took place on this last week's Friday Night SmackDown, please go do so on WWE's YouTube channel. It is fully uploaded there. I've watched it at least 10 times. So go check that out. If you haven't gotten a chance to watch the Jey Uso championship match against Braun Breaker yet, the full match is uploaded on WWE's YouTube as well. Go check that out. And for our listeners, we have been uploading our episodes on YouTube. We appreciate you guys for tuning in that sense. But we have now, thanks to King Jess, are now on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify Podcasts as well. So we have all those links in our link tree that will be linked in our bio as well. So check those out if you are a fan of those platforms there. If you decide to listen to a podcast on the way to work, on the at the gym, etc., check those out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But if you love to divulge that content on YouTube, please continue to do so. Like, subscribe, and comment. Would love to hear your guys' thoughts on where the Cody and Roman Reigns Part 3 is going to happen. Would love to hear your guys' thoughts on Andrade versus LA Knight Game 7, where and if that's going to happen. And how do you guys feel about Dominic Mysterio ranking above Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley's championship match at Bad Blood? Thank you guys for your time. King Jess, any last words from you?
No, just the same thing that you said. We are now on Spotify and Apple Pods. And with Apple Pods, we can do polls. So if we ask any questions that we want your guys' feedback on, we can throw it up on a poll. So be sure to check those. We're always checking the comments. Um, we will see you guys on Tuesday because Rob will be going away for a little bit of vacation. But I might have a little bit of a surprise dropping on the channel either Thursday or Friday. But we'll see how my week goes. Other than that, thank you for listening. And we will catch you guys next week.